ProtonMail.
Yeah.
ProtonMail has had a reputation for a long time, actually. I mean, this goes, man, how long has ProtonMail just kind of been the de facto,
Quite well.
private email service? Because it's free, unlike a lot of sort of private private mail services. They had a really bulletproof looking privacy policy, and when I say had, I really do mean had. This is kind of a big deal. ProtonMail has removed a statement from their privacy policy that said that they do not keep any IP logs. So, Luke, why would it be important that your email provider not retain IP logs?
Well, because if someone either broke into that service, so
Yeah.
like black hat hackers, or something of that sort, broke into that service, they could acquire that data, or if they are asked for that data by some form of government entity, in both of those cases, if they just don't have it, it's really not that big of a problem. If they get broken into by some hackery boys or girls or whatever, and there's nothing there for them to take, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
It's a little spooky, and you gotta maybe batten down the hatches a little bit, but you didn't lose anything, so who cares?
Right.
But
Then
if you are
there's
holding all this data, then it's an issue.
then it's there, and it could be a regulator that's going after it. So ProtonMail is a Swiss company, and they were obliged to follow a Swiss court injunction demanding that they begin logging IP addresses and browser fingerprint information. So the account that they went after was operated by a Parisian chapter of Youth for Climate. Their cause is fighting against gentrification, high-end establishments, and real estate speculation, among other things. ProtonMail points out that the email contents were not handed over, just logging info, because the email body itself is encrypted with keys that are unavailable to the servers that are processing them. So, is ProtonMail still chill then?
I would not say 100% chill. You know,
Now, Vixavius in the Floatplane chat says ProtonMail's response to this issue was absolutely A+, full honest. The issue is absurd. You should not use email for any kind of secure communications. I mean, okay, fair enough, but you might need to. And if people understood, at least thought, that ProtonMail was this completely secure method of communication, that was the reputation that it had.
Yeah, exactly. It's been communicated that way.
Now, Vixavius also says that ProtonMail cannot access your email, and you can get around this by simply using a fake IP with a VPN or with Tor. So I guess it comes down to that there is no such thing as just, one tool that you can use to maintain your privacy and or your anonymity online. I think a lot of VPNs have gotten themselves in hot water by claiming that a VPN is some kind of magic bullet that makes you anonymous online. And in the same way, ProtonMail probably just needed to, or maybe this is the community's fault.
It might have been, yeah, it might have been communication.
So bulletproof. Yeah. But in the same way, ProtonMail is not just a one-size-fits-all perfect way to maintain absolute privacy. You need a combination of tools, and not just tools, but also best practices. I mean, even Tor is not enough to maintain your privacy. For example, if you will use Tor at your native resolution and you happen to be running a Surface Book 2, let me just double check what the resolution of this thing is. Yeah, okay, this one's pretty good, which runs at 3240 by 2160. It's a very unusual resolution. One of the things that websites can see is what the resolution of the display that you're browsing from is. So that's the reason that Tor will actually launch at a default small window size. And you're not supposed to adjust it. You're supposed to leave it like that, because as soon as you start giving a website any bit of information, you can start to create, like as you click through and navigate or visit frequently accessed sites, they start to look for patterns, and they can start to put together a fingerprint for you that can be used to maybe not identify you, the individual, Jeremy Smith, but to identify you and start to build an advertising profile for you, which is usually what these online services are after, so that they can send you
There's
targeted
one
ads.
there's one Jeremy Smith out there that like wasn't really paying that much attention,
Yeah.
and then just all of a sudden is like, whoa.
Sorry, I should clarify. Tor browser. Excuse me. Um, oh man, Jack of Gamers asks, what do you think of PIA's new multi-hop option? I have not actually looked into it, but if it's what it sounds like, then it's going to hurt latency, but improve privacy. So, hey, there you go. So overall, this is not the end of the world. You can absolutely continue to use ProtonMail. You just need to be aware that every time, and I mean every time you log into ProtonMail, you should be using a VPN, and ideally, you should be making sure that you are accessing it from different VPN endpoints. So you should, yeah.
And especially if you're like, there's a note about this too. There's a discussion question. If you're an activist of any sort, is it time to use Tor browsers and VPNs? Can you trust anonymous email services? I would answer that somewhat indirectly by saying if you're an activist in a country that is dangerously oppressive to what you're being an activist about, I'm not going to try to make any assumptions about what that is or where you are or anything like that. I'm just talking generally.
What, are you
Don't
trying not to get us deleted in China?
I wasn't even thinking about China, but
Man, have you seen some of the stuff they've been doing lately?
no, I've been checked out, to be completely honest.
Mulan is like deleted from the internet. The actress, I mean.
Oh,
Like, just like their new thing is, if you are not waving the flag hard enough, you simply do not exist anymore.
you're
It's a whole
gone.
thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Don't trust anything. The question here is, can you trust anonymous email services? Don't trust anything. Layer up. Use multiple endpoints. Try to use the most secure thing you can. Pay attention to these types of things that are happening. Watch the news for the various services you use, like ProtonMail. Make sure that it's still kind of above board, and be ready to switch very quickly. And don't be dependent on any one thing. Don't use just one VPN, etc., etc., etc.
Yep.